If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? CEO Mischief Maker, MKJ here. And if you're enjoying my conversation with Cierra so far, I highly recommend you join her Facebook group. I'm in this group and I'm telling you, I've never been in a Facebook group more interactive and valuable than hers. So what you can find there is a specific piece of content that I think will bring you incredible value if you have your own Facebook group. And it is the 5 Facebook group types for businesses who either are or want to have 5 to 7 figures per month profitability. 5 Facebook group types for businesses who have or want to have 5 to 7 figures per month profitability. I highly recommend you check it out. Go to callmemkj.com/Cierra. That's callmemkj.com/CIERRA. And you can get access to her Facebook group, and she will give that to you immediately. I'm telling you, I've never been in a Facebook group more engaging than Cierra's, so I highly recommend you join it. callmemkj.com/CIERRA, and I'll see you there. Hey, CEO Mischief Makers. Okay, let's just dive into really what mischief is about, right? Remember, mindset, impact, strategic catalyst, helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. So welcome to Wednesday, first off. This section with, now I'm really just going to call you my good friend because we've had a couple of conversations and they have been so amazing. So Cierra, we talked last Monday about mindset shifts, and you shared your story with your son and your children and how you really wanted to prove, also your granddad, how you really wanted to prove that what you had envisioned is actually possible. And so you hired a mentor, and you spent, I agree with you, that first amount of money that I spent on a mentor was the scariest money I've ever spent, because it was the first piece of trust that I extended to another human to help me reach my goals. I've done many since then. But tell me about that first mentor and that framework that he gave you. First off, start there, and then we're going to go into how you innovated that.
Well, one thing that was really cool, and I'll say this for anyone who's considering investing in a mentor right now, is that when I invested in this mentor, I had actually been, for the last few months, I'd been studying and learning from a different person that I needed to work on a specific skill set. For me at the time, that skill set was copywriting. And I did not know that copywriting was going to be included in this mentorship, in this program that I joined. And it was just really cool that it was in there. Like it was like all of a sudden, like just everything aligned in my favor. And there it was. And copywriting wasn't the only thing that was in there. It was teaching how to build high ticket offers, how to pitch and sell them. It was teaching how to, I honestly, I feel like one of the biggest frameworks that they had in there was on productivity and then on mindset and being able to put that vision in front of you. Just like I talked about mindset before, having that vision in front of you is one of the most important things you will ever do, because whatever we focus on is what we find more of. In fact, one of my favorite exercises comes from Tony Robbins, and I use this all the time now. Most people, like, I don't know if he still does it or not, but it was from something I listened to a long time ago, but it works every time. It's like, if you'll just, if you're listening to this, or if you're watching, if you'll like play along with me for a second, I would love to just give this to you guys. And so if you will look around your room, wherever you're at, if you're driving, this isn't going to work, so pause and do it later. But if you'll look around for everything in the room that's blue, and just make a mental note of what is the thing that's blue? Like, what kind of texture are all the blue things? Where are they sitting at in the room that you're in? What do they look like? Start paying attention to all of those. What shade of blue? And start paying attention and focusing and getting a really clear picture in your mind. And then again, make sure you're not driving, but if you'll close your eyes for a minute and just think about all those blue things and bring up that picture, you can see it real clearly. You can see it very vividly. And then, keeping your eyes closed, do not cheat. I want you to think about everything in the room that's red. And then when you open your eyes and you look around the room and you start noticing that there's all these red things that you weren't paying attention to. And because we're so focused on winning and we're so focused on finding solutions, a lot of times we'll even find teal things and say that those were blue. We'll find maroon things and say that those were red. But the thing, and the biggest point that I want to make here, is that whatever we're focusing on is what we are going to find more of. And so when you keep the vision in front of you, it's extremely important. And so I'm actually working on a new framework that I've adapted from that mentor. And you mentioned something to me in the break and you're like, I want you to talk about a framework that you got from there. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm really excited about this. One of the biggest elements that I got from them was a weekly reflection. And there's a couple pieces in that weekly reflection that I think would be really valuable to anyone who's listening. One of them is, we put what our biggest struggles were. And we limit it to like 4 or 5. We try not to go beyond that, because we're not just trying to have a pity party and have a complaining fest, but we pick our top 4 or 5 struggles, the things that really held us back in the week before. And then we ask a question that says, if I mentored somebody else struggling with this, what would I tell them to do? And then we give ourselves a few core actions of what we could do to overcome that. And then we go down to the bottom and we pick one thing. If we could only carry one thing into next week and make one change, what would that change be? And starting to reflect on my weeks was one of the very first things that I did. And I had tried planners in the past. I had tried to plan out my weeks and everything, and I was never able to stick with them. And the planner that I got from them, the way that they structured their productivity thing, it was the first time I stuck with it for 30 days. And I was like, if I can do it for 30 days, I can do it for 60. And then I did. And then 60 days turned into a year. And then now I've done it for 2.5 years. And one of the biggest things that I learned, and biggest lessons that you can carry with you from this, is that consistency doesn't mean every single day. Consistency means that if you fall off for a day, just don't let a day turn into a week. If you fall off for a week, don't let a week turn into a month. And if you fall off for a month, don't let a month turn into a year. Get right back in there, pick it back up, start doing it again. And you'll notice from my story on the Monday Mindset, if you go back and listen to that one, that with my kids, like I fell off for about 2 months and then I picked myself back up and I started doing things again. And so it's like, we're going to have setbacks. I really like the way that Dave Ramsey talks about like how sometimes it's like, hey, you know what, you should carry an umbrella because sometimes you're going to have a rainy day. Like it always will rain at some point. And so you know that the rain is coming, you know that there will be storms, you know that there's going to be setbacks that, hey, guess what? You couldn't plan for it. You know, a flat tire, you didn't know there was going to be a nail on the road. You know, a kid falling and getting a broken leg or a broken arm, you didn't know you were going to have to go to the hospital. You know, there's little things that will come up, little things that will happen along the way. And it's how we can be more proactive rather than just being reactive. And when we're knowing that there's going to be rainy days, then we start putting little things in place to just love our future selves. And so what I'm planning to do right now and the framework that I'm implementing is, it's actually I don't want to say too structured and too systemized, but I am a very organized person and I like having organization. But I also like, if you're new to organization and new to systems and you're not really an integrator, I love baby steps. And so my goal is to help people learn how to reflect on a month, learn how to reflect on a week, learn how to reflect on a quarter, and actually start tracking some simple metrics that are the most vital and important for their business, their personal goals, and their health and well-being. because those things are all extremely important and cohesive. And most planners just dive into the weeds of the day and how you're scheduling every single hour, every single minute. And I do understand the need for that for some people. But there's a lot of people out there who are like me, who don't need to get down into the nitty gritty of every single minute. They're not ready to optimize at that level yet. And so I just want to give people I want to empower them. Let's say it like that. I want to empower them to be able to understand that if you can reflect on the lesson and learn the lesson, you won't have to learn the lesson over and over and over again. And a lot of times people will run into the same problems or the same mistakes because they never learned the lesson the first time. And so this allows you to, whatever that business lesson is, whatever that personal life lesson is, whatever the lesson is that needs to be learned, it allows you to be able to take that and learn how to start coaching yourself. And again, I always have a mentor. And I would recommend to anyone to don't go for a generalist, go for specialist. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. Now, as far as Facebook groups, because we didn't talk about that either, do you mind if I give another framework for that?
Go for it. Go for it.
So one of the things that we do inside of content planning, a lot of people use old content strategies that just realistically don't work. I don't even know where they came from, but we will have like, and forgive me for saying this because I totally called your Monday thing Monday Mindset. Monday Mindset is probably the only one that I actually like because who doesn't need mindset work on Monday?
Yep.
But that being said, there's like Transformation Tuesday and Winning Wednesday and Throwback Thursday and Fun Friday. And there's all these little quirky things like that. There's other content schedules where it's like you have to post every single day, multiple times a day on every single platform everywhere. And to be quite honest, it's kind of overwhelming and there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like there's no real strategy behind it other than you just struggle to come up with imaginative ideas. But at the end of the day, it's like we're all imaginative and creative beings. That's just who we are at our core. And so if you can have a framework that does testing, then over time, you can improve and get better and resonate more with the people you actually want to be in communication with. And so we created a system for creating out your quarterly content plan that syncs up with your marketing calendar. It syncs up with your launches and stuff like that. But the system tests out your content over time. And it's built on 3 core pieces of content every single week. And then we use a strategy with topics and subtopics. And then we just rotate through our quarterly content plan quarter over quarter, because quarter 1 is testing. Quarter 2 is refining. Quarter 3 is refining even further. And by quarter 4, after a year of doing this 4 times, after a year of doing this 4 times, like your content is going to hit so hard and you'll be able to throw fuel behind it, whether that's getting in front of large audiences by guest speaking and leveraging other audiences, or it's, throwing money at it with ads. No matter how you decide to throw fuel to the fire, it's like you have already refined down your marketing message so well that it's going to resonate with your audience. And so we do a quarterly content plan and then testing. So.
Okay, so think about this. All right. Those of you who believe in this whole mischief framework, and you've just heard Cierra talk about the frameworks that she's used in the past. You mentioned Tony Robbins. You mentioned Dave Ramsey, right? So, I mean, there are, we do not have one mentor and we stick with that one
name drop
mentor.
A little bit more, like Bob Proctor and Brian Tracy, Taylor Welch.
See,
I have lots of mentors.
See, that's it. And that's the reason I talk about innovation in the way I do. We're not talking about innovation in the Elon Musks of the world, right? I could never, my brain just couldn't go to that capacity, right? It's just not possible. He's amazing. But I'm talking about innovation in what all of us humans do. We adapt, we evolve. And so when we look at someone else's framework or someone else's teaching or a piece of content, or you're listening to mine and Cierra's voice, and you're hearing the things that she talked about with a quarterly content plan, you pick up, you absorb what you are ready to absorb. And when you absorb it and you bring it back out into your business and you apply it to your business or your life, that is innovation. That is you taking information in that you've heard, adapting it to who you are and your goals and your North Star and all those things that you are trying to achieve. And then you create your own framework based on all of that information that you've taken in. So what you just heard Cierra talk about, you can take all of that, you can look at those other mentors, you can look at myself, you can look at Cierra, and you can take, okay, this part I resonate with, this part not so much. That's awesome. Don't follow that part. Follow the part that resonates with you. I agree 100%. What we're going to talk about next is that specific strategy for your quarterly content and the amount of material you want to post, the types of posts. All those things are very valuable pieces of information. And then once you take that strategy and you implement it, and I love what you talked about when you say that first quarter is testing, and then you're tweaking again the second, and you're tweaking again the third. And by the time you get to the fourth, if you haven't found the formula that's right for you, you haven't been doing it right. you haven't been figuring this out and adapting as you go along. So wow. So who are you? Who really is your audience? Who are you trying to impact the most?
So I'm always in a constant state of refinement. After 2.5 years of being in business and working with over 70 different people in their groups and 250, entrepreneurs who wanted to build out their high ticket offers for the first time, like I've kind of refined it down to, I've worked with some agency owners and I love them. They're amazing because they just go, do, they're used to the testing stuff. They're like, yeah, this works. And then they'll just take action and get great results. But I really, really love working with people who are building out their high ticket coaching offers or consulting offers for the first time. And they haven't yet made that impact that they've envisioned for themselves, because watching a budding coach or consultant is probably one of my favorite things in the world to do, to help these experts actually get their voices heard by the masses and get high visibility very quickly, seeing them get that first win of, hey, I got my first client, or seeing them get to that point of like, oh, my client just got amazing results, and watching them be excited in that. It's like when you're a brand new parent and you watch your kid discover that the light switch turns on and off for the first time, or you watch them see a butterfly for the first time, or you watch them like just experiencing the world in a new way. I think that that's probably one of my favorite things, but that's who we work with, is these people who have high ticket offers and are specifically looking to build online using a community or a group, and realistically want to make a big impact in their industry.
Yes. That and think about that. There are lots of those kinds of people, and they are in varying degrees of impact for their own clients. And to be able to help someone go to that next level of impact, there's nothing like it, right? There's nothing like it. And yeah, more power to you. All right, innovation. I think we covered it. I think you've taken frameworks from many different places, and you've gelled them into and morphed them into your own and the offer that you have for your specific clients. Wow. Wow. I'm ready to dive into strategy. So any last words about impact and innovation?
About impact and innovation. The biggest thing that I would want to encourage other people to do with impact and innovation is, if you have a dream or something that's been down inside of you, maybe there's other people in the world who are going to pursue it, but not in the way that you would. And so your voice is extremely important. And you're going to take the ideas that MK and I have here today, and you're going to be able to do something far greater than what we could do, because we come together and the two of us get together and we create this third mind, but then you come and you take that third mind idea and you add to it, and it just continues to grow and develop. And there's people out here that will not listen to MK. There's people out here that will not listen to me, but they will listen to you. And so whatever has impacted you here today, take that to other people, share this with other people, share the ideas, talk about it, because they won't listen to us, but they'll listen to you, and it might change somebody else's life.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit ceomischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.